It started with something so small, no one even noticed. Frank, a 71-year-old retired teacher, walked into the kitchen one morning and stared blankly at the coffee machine. He'd used it every day for over a decade, but now he couldn't remember how it worked. His wife laughed it off, joking that he just needed more coffee to remember how to make coffee. But deep down, something didn't feel right. Weeks later, Frank forgot the name of a close family friend at a dinner party. Then he got lost driving home from the grocery store less than a mile from his house. At first, his family thought it was just normal aging. After all, don't we all misplace things or forget words sometimes? But when the small lapses started interfering with daily life, they realized it was something more, something serious. It was the beginning of dementia. If you're over 60 or love someone who is, this video might be one of the most important you'll ever watch, because dementia doesn't start overnight. It creeps in slowly, quietly, and often hides behind what we think is just getting older. But what if you could catch it early? What if you could spot the first subtle shifts before they spiral into full-blown cognitive decline? In this video, we'll break down exactly what dementia is and how it affects seniors differently. We'll walk through Frank's story, uncover the early signs that families often overlook, and most importantly, we'll share what steps you can take to protect your loved ones right now. From caregiving strategies to the latest in treatments and brain-protecting habits, this is your guide to understanding dementia before it's too late. So stay with us until the end, because knowledge is power, and in the case of dementia, early action can change everything. Step 1. Understanding what dementia really is. Before we can recognize dementia's early signs or take steps to slow its progression, we need to understand what it actually is. Contrary to popular belief, dementia is not a single disease. It's an umbrella term for a group of conditions that affect memory, thinking, and the ability to perform everyday tasks. It's progressive, which means it gets worse over time. And it's far more than just forgetting things. The most common form is Alzheimer's disease, accounting for 60–80% of all dementia cases. But there are others too, like vascular dementia, which can occur after a stroke, Lewy body dementia, which often comes with vivid hallucinations, and frontotemporal dementia, which can affect personality and behavior first instead of memory. Each type has its own patterns, but all lead to a gradual breakdown of brain function. Now here's the part many people don't realize. Dementia often starts years before a formal diagnosis is made. In the early stages, the brain is already changing, but the signs are easy to dismiss. A forgotten appointment here, a wrong word there, maybe a little confusion in a familiar place. Most of us shrug and think, well, that happens to everyone. And it does. But with dementia, these moments begin to repeat. They become patterns. They begin to interfere with life in ways that feel just a little off. Let's go back to Frank for a moment. At first, his forgetfulness didn't seem like a big deal. He'd forget the names of minor characters in books he was reading. He'd lose his keys more often. But what really caught his wife's attention was when he started repeating the same questions during dinner, or when he tried to pay a bill twice because he forgot he'd already mailed a check. These weren't just lapses. They were shifts, subtle but persistent. This is why understanding dementia is so crucial. It's not about diagnosing yourself or someone you love after one bad day. It's about recognizing a pattern of decline changes that are unusual, persistent, and interfere with daily routines. Dementia doesn't just affect the person diagnosed. It affects the entire family. But the earlier you understand what's happening, the better you can prepare. You can seek help, get a diagnosis, make lifestyle changes, and even explore new treatments designed to slow progression in the early stages. In the next section, we'll explore exactly what those early signs are so you can be empowered to notice them early and take action before it's too late. Step 2. How to recognize the early signs of dementia before it's too late. Catching dementia in its early stages is like noticing the first crack in a dam, small, quiet, and easy to overlook. But ignoring it means risking a much bigger break later on. The good news is, when you know what to look for, You can spot dementia early enough to make a real difference. And for families like Frank's, that awareness can be life-changing. So, what are these early signs? Let's start with the most common one: short-term memory loss. Not the kind where you misplace your keys once or forget what day it is that happens to everyone. We're talking about forgetting conversations that just happened, repeating the same question multiple times, forgetting important appointments, despite reminders. That was one of the first things Frank's daughter noticed. He would ask, "When is your doctor appointment again?" even though she had told him 3 times already that morning. The second early sign is difficulty with problem-solving or planning. Someone who used to manage the bills suddenly struggles with balancing a checkbook. Recipes they've cooked for years now seem confusing. Or they can't follow a set of directions they've always known. Frank had been a retired engineer precision, and numbers were his world. But suddenly, small math problems frustrated him. He once left a pot on the stove and forgot about it completely. That had never happened before. Next, look for language problems. A person might pause often while searching for words. They might use strange phrases like, "that round thing for the news," instead of television. Or they may repeat the same story several times in one conversation. You might see them getting quieter in social settings not because they're shy, but because they're struggling to keep up with conversations. Another red flag? Disorientation in time and place. They might get confused about where they are, even in familiar settings, or forget why they entered a room. One evening, Frank left the house to go buy milk. His wife found him a mile away, walking down the sidewalk, completely disoriented. He couldn't explain where he was going or why. Also, watch for mood and personality changes. A calm person may become irritable. A social butterfly may begin withdrawing from friends and activities. Or someone trusting may start becoming paranoid, believing people are stealing from them. These shifts often confuse families at first because they seem like attitude problems rather than medical ones. Lastly, difficulty with daily tasks is often a tipping point. Dressing in the wrong order, putting a phone in the fridge, struggling to make a familiar meal. These aren't just forgetful moments, they're signs that something deeper is going wrong. Now here's a key reminder. 1 or 2 of these signs on their own doesn't mean someone has dementia. We all forget. We all get distracted. But if these signs start stacking up, happening more often, and interfering with daily life, that's when it's time to take action. Families who catch it early can get a proper diagnosis, access treatments like memory therapies or early-stage medications, and begin setting up systems for safety and care. You can't stop dementia entirely, but you can slow it down. And for someone in their 60s or 70s, that can mean preserving years of independence, clarity, and quality time with loved ones. In the next section, we'll look at what families can actually do once they suspect dementia might be developing, because recognizing it is just the first step. The next is knowing how to respond with compassion, strategy, and strength. Step 3. What families can do when dementia begins: protect, support, and preserve dignity. When the early signs of dementia appear, most families are caught off guard. They feel a mix of emotions: confusion, sadness, fear, and often guilt. But here's the truth. The way a family responds in those crucial first months can shape the entire journey ahead. While there may not be a cure yet, how you support a loved one in the early stages can slow the progression, improve their quality of life, and preserve their independence far longer than expected. Let's return to Frank's story. After his daughter noticed the memory lapses and confusion, she didn't brush them off as normal aging. She scheduled an appointment with a neurologist. That visit led to memory tests, a brain scan, and eventually a diagnosis: early-stage Alzheimer's. It was devastating, but it also gave them clarity, and clarity leads to action. The first thing Frank's family did was establish a routine. Routines give structure and security to someone whose mind is slowly becoming unpredictable. Meals, medication, walks, and bedtime happened at the same times each day. This cut down on confusion and anxiety, and it gave Frank something to rely on even as his memory faded. They also made small home adjustments that made a big difference. Labels on drawers, a big digital calendar in the kitchen, motion lights in the hallway for nighttime trips to the bathroom. These aren't expensive fixes, but they reduce daily frustration and increase safety. Another smart move? Communication training. As dementia progresses, conversation becomes harder. The family learned to speak slower, use simple words, and avoid correcting Frank when he forgot something. Instead of saying, "Don't you remember?" they said, "Let me help you with that." This reduced arguments and kept Frank feeling respected. Emotionally, it wasn't easy. Frank had days when he lashed out, accused his wife of hiding his wallet, or seemed distant and flat. But understanding that these behaviors were symptoms, not personal attacks, helped the family respond with patience instead of pain. They also got support. Frank's wife joined a caregiver support group at their local senior center. His daughter connected with the Alzheimer's Association and got access to counseling, resources, and a 24/7 helpline. These small steps help the whole family feel less alone and more empowered. What else can families do early on? Get legal and financial affairs in order. It's not pleasant, but it's necessary. Power of attorney, living wills, and healthcare directives should be handled while your loved one is still able to participate in decisions. Encourage brain activity. Even small things like puzzles, reading, or listening to music can help keep the brain engaged. Promote physical movement. Daily walks, stretching, or even gardening supports blood flow and brain health. Focus on nutrition. Diets like the Mediterranean diet have shown promise in slowing cognitive decline. Omega-3s, leafy greens, berry salt, brain boosters. Stay socially connected. Loneliness accelerates dementia. Even short conversations, game nights, or visits from grandchildren help a lot. What families must remember is this: early action is powerful. You can't reverse dementia, but you can slow it, soften it, and support your loved one in living a life with dignity, comfort, and even joy. In the next section, we'll talk about the most promising treatments available right now and what to expect from them. Because even though there's no cure, there is hope, and science is moving fast. Step 4. Knowing what are the treatments, ways it could be prevented. When a dementia diagnosis is confirmed, one of the first questions families ask is there a treatment? While dementia can't yet be cured, the answer isn't a hopeless one. In fact, several treatments now exist that can slow progression, improve daily function, and reduce symptoms, especially when started early. Let's walk through what's available today, what's on the horizon, and how to know if your loved one might benefit. Let's return to Frank. After his diagnosis, his doctor prescribed a common medication used to support memory and cognitive function in early Alzheimer's, donepezil, also known as Aricept. Within a few weeks, his family noticed small but meaningful changes. He was less confused in the evenings, more engaged in conversation, and had fewer moments of panic when he couldn't find the right word. But perhaps the most exciting development in recent years is the emergence of disease-modifying drugs. These don't just manage symptoms, they aim to slow the biological process of Alzheimer's itself. One such drug is lecanemab. Approved by the FDA, it works by targeting and removing amyloid plaque subnormal protein clusters that build up in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. In clinical trials, lecanemab showed it could slow cognitive decline by about 27% in early-stage patients. That may not sound huge, but for a person like Frank, it could mean staying independent and lucid for months or even years longer. So who qualifies for these newer treatments? Generally, they're only approved for people in early stages of Alzheimer's, with confirmed amyloid buildup. This is usually detected through brain imaging or spinal fluid testing. They also require close monitoring because some patients experience side effects like brain swelling or bleeding, though often mild and temporary. That's why it's critical to get diagnosed early before symptoms progress. The earlier the diagnosis, the more options are available, and the better the chances of benefiting from treatment. What about natural or lifestyle-based interventions? While not a replacement for medication, research shows lifestyle changes can dramatically improve outcomes. This includes exercise, especially walking and light cardio, which improves blood flow to the brain, Mediterranean or Main diets, rich in leafy greens, nuts, olive oil, berries, and fish, cognitive training, like brain games, reading, puzzles, or learning new skills, sleep improvement, which helps the brain clear toxic proteins overnight, social activity, which boosts mood and reduces the risk of rapid decline. Frank's family decided to explore this. They enrolled him in a clinical trial for a lifestyle-based intervention program, combining diet, exercise, and memory coaching. The changes weren't dramatic, but they were consistent. His mood stabilized, his memory lapses slowed, and his family felt empowered knowing they were doing everything they could. In summary, today's treatments may not be a cure, but they are meaningful. They buy time, preserve dignity, and offer hope. The key is early diagnosis, consistent care, and an open mind toward all available tools, medical and non-medical alike. In the final section, we'll leave you with a message of encouragement and a roadmap of small daily actions families can take to support both their loved one and themselves on this journey. Stay with us. Reason 5. 8 steps families must take of daily actions to protect, empower, and slow decline. When someone in the family begins to show signs of dementia, the natural response is often fear or confusion. But here's the truth. Families are not powerless. In fact, the way a family responds in the early stages can make a huge difference in how fast or slow the disease progresses and how well the person continues to live. Let's come back to Frank. After his diagnosis, his wife Linda felt overwhelmed. She didn't know what to do or where to begin. But with the help of a support group and a few small changes in their routine, she discovered something powerful. She couldn't stop the disease, but she could shape the experience. So what can families actually do to protect and support someone in the early stage of dementia? Let's break it down. 1. Build a structured, simple routine. People with dementia thrive on predictability. It reduces confusion and creates a sense of security. Help them wake, eat, and sleep at the same times each day. Place a large calendar and clock somewhere visible. Use to-do lists and reminders written in large, clear handwriting. 2. Encourage independence, not dependence. Many people jump in to help too quickly, but independence builds confidence. Allow your loved one to dress, cook, or manage small tasks as long as it's safe. Even if it takes longer, the mental stimulation helps keep the brain active. 3. Focus on brain-friendly activities. Puzzles, memory games, storytelling, listening to music, or organizing photo albums. These activities are not just enjoyable, they help preserve cognitive function. Reading aloud, learning simple new skills, or even light gardening can keep their mind engaged. 4. Support social connection. One of the most damaging effects of dementia is isolation. Social withdrawal accelerates cognitive decline. Encourage regular phone calls, visits with close friends, or community activities like memory cafes, which are safe spaces for socializing without pressure or judgment. 5. Improve diet and physical health. Encourage meals that support brain health, leafy greens, berries, nuts, olive oil, fatty fish, and whole grains. Avoid processed foods, excess sugar, and too much salt. Help them stay hydrated and get light exercise like walking, stretching, or dancing. Even 15-20 minutes daily makes a difference. 6. Prepare legally and financially early. While your loved one can still make decisions, talk openly about legal documents, power of attorney, advance directives, and financial planning. These conversations might feel difficult, but they're essential for protecting their wishes and reducing stress later on. 7. Keep the environment safe and simple. Install grab bars, label drawers, use night lights, and minimize clutter. These small changes reduce the risk of injury or frustration. Always keep keys, wallets, and medications in the same place. Consistency is key. 8. take care of the caregiver. This might be the most important point of all. Caregiving is a marathon, not a sprint. If you burn out, your ability to support your loved one will suffer. Take breaks. Ask for help. Join a support group. Talk to a counselor. Remember, you matter too. Linda followed many of these tips over time. She got support, adjusted their home, and helped Frank stay involved in activities he loved, like playing with their grandkids or sorting tools in the garage. She said something simple but powerful. I stopped focusing on what we were losing and started focusing on what we could still do together. Dementia doesn't just affect the person diagnosed, it affects the entire family. But with the right mindset, structure, and resources, families can create a life of meaning, connection, and dignity even in the face of a progressive illness. Bonus advice: 6 habits that protect the aging brain. When it comes to dementia, we often feel like we're racing against time, but science and thousands of real-life stories have shown us one beautiful truth: you can slow the clock. No, we can't stop aging, and there's no magic pill to erase dementia, but our daily choice, especially in the early years, can keep our minds clearer, sharper, and more resilient than we ever thought possible. Here are 6 natural habits that gently protect the aging brain and support long-term cognitive health. 1. Eat the rainbow every single day. Your brain thrives on colorful fruits and vegetables. Blueberries, leafy greens, tomatoes, carrots, beets. Each of them carries antioxidants, vitamins, and anti-inflammatory compounds that guard your neurons from damage. Aim for at least 5 different colors on your plate every day. Think of it as feeding your brain a bouquet of healing. 2. Choose good fats over bad ones. The brain is nearly 60% fat. The quality of the fat you eat matters. Avocados, walnuts, flax seeds, and fatty fish like salmon or sardines are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help maintain brain cell structure and reduce inflammation. On the other hand, trans fats and processed oils found in fried foods and packaged snacks can accelerate cognitive decline. Switch to olive oil, mash avocado on toast, or toss flax seeds into your oatmeal. 3. Stay mentally curious. Your brain is like a muscle. The more you challenge it, the stronger it stays. Read books that stretch your thinking. Try learning a new language, instrument, or even a craft. Even small puzzles like crosswords or memory games can keep your brain pathways firing. The key is variety. New activities activate new parts of the brain. 4. Get moving every day. Physical activity is one of the most powerful brain protectors we have. Just 30 minutes of brisk walking, dancing, or yoga can improve blood flow to the brain, reduce stress hormones, and stimulate the growth of new brain cells. Don't overthink it. Movement doesn't need to be strenuous. Even a slow walk after dinner can do wonders. 5. Sleep like it matters, because it does. Deep, restorative sleep is when the brain clears out toxins and files away memories. Poor sleep has been directly linked to higher dementia risk. Try to get 7-9 hours of sleep each night. A calming evening routine, dim lighting, herbal teas like chamomile, and cutting off screens an hour before bed can help improve quality naturally. 6. Connect with people, not just screens. Loneliness is one of the quietest threats to brain health. Regular social interaction helps keep the mind sharp and the spirit lifted. Whether it's sharing stories with grandchildren, calling an old friend, or joining a local group or club, these human moments are like sunshine for the soul. Dementia may be a growing threat, but you're not helpless in the face of it. These natural daily choices build a strong foundation for brain health. They don't require expensive supplements or fancy technology. Just real food, real connection, real movement, and real love for your own well-being. Start with one habit, then build on it, because a sharper, stronger mind tomorrow begins with what you do today. Final thoughts. Your choices today can shape your mind tomorrow. If you've made it this far, it means something inside you is stirring. Maybe it's concern, maybe it's hope, maybe it's a quiet question. Is there something I can do to protect myself or someone I love from dementia? And the answer, as we've seen, is yes. Yes, there is so much within your control. We often think of dementia as a thief in the night, slowly stealing names, memories, clarity, independence. But what if we reframe that story? What if, instead of fearing what we might lose, we focused on what we can still do, what we can still change? Let's go back to Frank's story. A man in his early 70s, still sharp, still active. But his wife noticed the subtle signs, forgetting things he never used to forget, missing a turn on a familiar route, asking the same question twice in one afternoon. She didn't brush it off. She didn't wait. They saw a doctor. They started making small changes. And because of that, Frank is still reading his favorite books, still taking evening walks, still remembering his grandson's birthday. That's what early awareness gives us, not a cure, but a chance to slow things down, to make plans, to preserve dignity, to keep the flame of independence glowing a little longer. Dementia doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in through forgotten conversations, lost names, misplaced objects, and confused expressions. But when you recognize those moments, not as random, but as clues, that's where the power begins. You've learned today what to watch for: sudden mood swings or withdrawal, struggles with everyday tasks, repeating stories, difficulty finding words, wandering or confusion in familiar places. These signs aren't just normal aging. They are your signal to pay attention. And for family members, they are a call to step in, not to take over, but to stand beside. And what happens next? That's up to you. Maybe it's having a gentle conversation with a loved one. Maybe it's scheduling an appointment. Maybe it's just bringing a little more patience, understanding, and structure into your household. But don't stop there. We also talked about the bigger picture, the lifestyle habits that help protect your brain naturally and powerfully. Fresh fruits, whole foods, regular movement, mental stimulation, deep sleep, and emotional connection. These aren't trends. They're timeless, they're free, and they work. Every choice you make, what you eat, how you move, how you engage with the world, either strengthens your brain or lets it weaken. And that means every day is an opportunity to build a better future. So ask yourself now, what's one change I can make today to protect my mind? Who do I know that might need support, even if they haven't asked for it? What kind of future do I want for myself, for my partner, for my parents? Leave a comment below and let us know which part of this video spoke to you the most. Have you seen these signs in someone you love? Are you taking steps already or just getting started? We read every single comment, and your story might be the one that encourages someone else to take action too. And if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it. Your support allows us to continue creating content that matters, content that can change lives, bring comfort, and help build a healthier, more aware community. This isn't just about memory loss. It's about preserving the essence of who we are. Let's choose to protect it together, one day, one choice, one habit at a time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.